Damien, if you can just describe what your business was 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, it was pretty exhausting. It was, I recall working 6 days a week. I'm a podiatrist, so I would be treating 60 patients a day, 6 days a week. I remember at times waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, driving down to Warrnambool, treating 45 patients before lunch, then driving back to Melbourne to pick up some more sterile equipment, then driving up to Albury on the same day and treating another 20 patients. So that would mean on days like that, which were fairly typical, I'd be driving 9 hours and treating 60 patients a day. So certainly working very hard. It was working really hard but not really making any money. I remember the bloody bank balance just never seemed to change. I recall looking at the 06-07 P&L and we'd done turnover of 750,000 and only made 25,000 for the whole year. So at that stage running at a 3% net. So really couldn't see the point of it all, to be honest.
Yeah, and just describe what your sort of energy and motivation levels were at that time. Yeah,
well, unsurprisingly, it's pretty hard to be motivated when you're working hard and making no money. So the two primary emotions that I felt were frustration and anxiety. I was frustrated that it just didn't feel like the business was improving, and I felt a lot of anxiety because I wasn't too sure about our future and whether or not I wanted to continue to be involved in that business. So I really felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel, and was quite prepared to throw it all in.
Yep. And just give everyone an outline of what your business is currently, including the niche of your business.
Yeah, so we're Victoria's leading aged care podiatry specialist. Our service is contracted by about 230 aged care facilities all across Victoria. Pretty much all the large groups use us. We're growing fairly rapidly. Last year we grew by 50.3%. This year our sales will easily exceed $3 million. We've got about a 35% market share in Victoria. We've secured contracts to expand into New South Wales on the 1st of October. And we're pretty confident that we'll be featured in this year's BRW Fastest 100. And look, I really attribute all those sort of growth milestones to having a fantastic team. I'm really proud of everybody we've got involved in the company, and everybody's operates above the line and invested emotionally into our unique culture.
Yeah. So you've gone from basically throwing it in when you were cutting toenails 7 days a week to perhaps being in the BRW fastest growing 50 growing businesses in the country. So that's a fair change in 4 years.
Look, most of the change has happened within the last 3 years, but the frustrations really set in about 5 years ago.
Yeah. So in 3 years you've gone from that to that. Just in a block of 1 year, first year versus second year versus third year. How would you sort of just categorise that? What's the first year all made up of? Yeah,
first year for us was, and I remember when I first started with Action, speaking to a lot of other Action clients and asking them what had happened and where were they after 3 years, and we had massive issues with recruitment and retention. So I think for the first year that's really what we spent most of our time on, was really making sure that we plugged up those holes. Second year was probably more about systemisation and really getting that right, and then the third year we really started to crank up a bit of marketing.
Yep. So along the journey there's been many challenging experiences. You want to just outline a few of them?
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. I suppose the main challenge for me has been rebuilding the company. I started the business when I was 24. I started it the day after I graduated as a podiatrist from university. And the reason why I enrolled in podiatry was I thought that there was going to be some good business opportunities in that particular sector. So when I started my business, it grew really quickly, which wasn't really a big surprise to me because that's what I thought I'd always do. And it did grow really quickly. On our first day of opening the business, we'd secured enough sales meetings to earn us $70,000 in net profit for that year, and that was just by lunchtime. And we just continued to grow from there. So within 3 years, we were treating 1,000 patients a week, and at the age of 27, I was running Australia's largest podiatry company. At that stage, I put on a general manager and then focused on building a chain of sports podiatry clinics called Align Foot, and those clinics treated some of the world's very best sports people, including Pat Rafter, Leighton Hewitt, Martina. How do you say her surname?
Never.
That's the one. Yeah. So at that stage, I thought things were great. I certainly thought I was great, but I was wrong. Looking back, the culture of the place was bloody horrible. We had real issues with staff recruitment and retention. And probably worst of all, my general manager had stolen $300,000 from me, and I didn't even know. So soon after that, I was forced to put both companies into liquidation, and my reputation and my world basically collapsed very quickly.
Yep, yep. Now, in terms, you mentioned about you didn't even know. In terms of someone stole $300,000 from you, and,
yep.
and you didn't even know.
Yep.
What sort of things? What was the major thing that went through your mind at that point?
Shit. Look, that was a really trying time. That was probably one of the most difficult times I've ever been through.
How did it happen without you knowing?
Look, it's a long story, but this guy's got a history. He's been doing it for 20 years, and he was creating fake leases with computer equipment, and then had an arrangement with the computer suppliers where there'd be kickbacks, and basically I was leasing thin air. I was paying the finance companies, and then the computer guys were being paid for equipment that didn't exist, and then giving it back to this particular chap. So it was a really, really difficult time, and my world, as I said, collapsed.